Welcome back to the Oakland Athletics franchise, here for another edition of the Athletics Prospect Profile, a mini-series we do here within the Athletics franchise, where we go over top prospects throughout the A's organization, from AA Midland up to AAA Nashville. Last time, we went over starting pitcher in AAA Nashville, Adrian Castro, and now we're going to be heading down to AA Midland to go over catching prospect Thomas Suzuki. A little bit of bio about Thomas Suzuki. He is a catcher, like I mentioned. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall. He weighs about 219 pounds. He is 20 years old, and he's out of Japan. I do not know when he was drafted, because he was one of those guys who falls through the cracks in free agency because the team that drafted him just didn't sign him for whatever reason. He was already a B potential. I scooped him up in free agency, and now he is an Athletics prospect. And I should point out that I did not pick him up this past offseason, as in the one that just happened. I picked him up the one before that, so this is actually going to be his second year in the Athletics organization. Moving on to Suzuki's scouting profile. First things first, he has a good arm. That is probably the best thing about him as it stands right now. Although he does have a beat potential, so he has the ability to go up quite a bit in a few different areas. But as it stands right now, the best thing about him, I'd say, is his arm. He has a good arm. It's about a 73 arm strength. So he's going to be able to nail down a few runners that are trying to steal on him. He's pretty good defensively. I mean, he's not like major league, insanely good defensively ready. But he is definitely, right now, it's his best attribute, as his defense isn't really slacking in AA. It'd probably still be pretty good in AAA, and it would be probably middle of the pack in the major leagues. I know Schwarber is our catcher in the major leagues. He's not exactly the most defensively good catcher in the major leagues, so Suzuki, I'd say, was definitely like middle of the pack in the major leagues. Second point is he is not Ramon Benitez. He does not have no durability. He is very durable, and I think catcher is probably one of the number one things where you do want to be very durable, because you don't want to have a catcher who's, well, you already take a lot of beating being a catcher, and you don't want a guy who's going to be susceptible to getting injured all the time, plus being a catcher, so he's going to be injured even more often, which is probably Benitez's problem. So Suzuki, very durable, nothing to worry about there. He has the potential to be a decent bat. Like I said, right now, his bat isn't exactly the best thing out there, but I mean, it's not awful either, and he does have the potential to get it up there to be where he can be a decent guy. I think he could be like a 15-homer guy per season once he fully develops, possibly 20 if his power really skyrockets, if he has like a great season. Like I know Monty Mason had a great season in AAA, and his power versus left-hand, or power versus right-handers skyrocketed from like a 60 to like a 78 or something. So it went up like 18 points in a season, something ridiculous like that. And so did his contact versus that side. So Suzuki could have a great year one of these years and all of a sudden just skyrocket a couple of his attributes. But as it stands right now, he does have the potential to be a decent bat. I said he could hit about 15 homers. I could definitely see that going up or down. Doesn't really, that's just like a guideline to look at, is 15 homers. I don't think he's going to be a 300 average hitter either. Right now he's hitting 216 in AA. So he's not exactly the greatest average hitter. He's not going to be walking a lot either. He doesn't really have any of the, I guess, attributes to like draw a lot of walks. His vision isn't very high. His discipline isn't very high. His clutch isn't very high. His contact and power are like, they're like in the 50s. I think his contact versus lefties is like 30s. So they're not really the greatest stats, but like I said, he could just go on a tear here for the rest of this season and just skyrocket his stats, or next season and skyrocket his stats. You never really know what's going to happen, but he does have a beat potential, so anything's possible at the time of Suzuki. I just think he's going to be a pretty decent bat with a really good defensive game, and that's what I think Thomas Suzuki's going to be. Possibly even like a Kurt Suzuki type guy. I'd say that's a pretty good comparison for Thomas Suzuki, not even because he has the same last name, but because he's basically, I think he's kind of like Kurt Suzuki. Maybe a little bit more pop. I don't think Kurt Suzuki has that much pop. And with that being said, that's going to wrap things up here for this edition of the Oakland Athletics Prospect Profile, where we go over AA prospect, catching prospect, Thomas Suzuki. I've been your host, Jersey Born, and I'm saying goodbye.
That's what happens when it's you that's standing in the path of a lightning ball. Everyone I see just walks the walk.